the big names and the world-famous series, but there are still countless fantastic fantasy series available that are quite unlike any other. Welcome back to Animeology, as we bring you a collection of recommendations that are pretty unique and very fresh. We know you're a huge anime fan, but we're hoping that you haven't seen most of the animes on this list, but you absolutely must check them out. Number 10. Noir. A brilliant adventure series that arms some very pretty girls with some pretty scary guns. Starting life as an anime series, this was seriously underrated, but has since spawned into two spiritual successors that follow similar concepts but with a greatly different story and setting. Noir itself tells a tale of two young but deadly female assassins, setting off on a journey of epic proportions. A personal journey that is set to answer some pretty heavy truths about their mysterious and shady past. We start to slowly realize that the two, seemingly unrelated characters, actually have far more intertwined and interrelated history than we were originally led to believe. As our two leading ladies start to learn more about one another and regain their memory, they start performing assassinations together under the joint codename Noir. The story goes to some interesting places with secret undercover organizations and mysterious entities as we start to soon learn more and more about the vicious world of Noir itself. A brilliant high-octane watch with some phenomenal action scenes and stylish battles. Number 9. Combatants Will Be Dispatched. A fantastic adventure series that started off as a web novel and has since seen a lot of success as a light novel and manga. The highly anticipated anime finally got revealed this year to a huge wave of excitement from across the community, with Season 2 just around the corner. There is no better time than the present to get involved with this universe. We learn of a grim future in which the evil Kisaragi Corporation has spread and conquered most of the Earth. The huge beast of a company is looking to spread its operations across the universe to other planets, sending Combat Agent 6 and its brand new combat droid Alice to this magical fantasy world through its revolutionary teleporter. After arriving in this fantasy realm, the two find themselves drafted into the military of this fantasy world. An interesting balancing act of juggling the state of this fantasy world whilst remembering their underlying mission of universe domination for the Kisaragi Corporation is an interesting and unique backstory that the main characters need to constantly juggle. Number 8. Soul Eater. Perhaps one of the biggest names on this list, Soul Eater still remains seriously underrated and an absolutely brilliant example of dark comedy and dark fantasy with some slick action thrown in just in case. We learn of the grim world of Shinigami and Death Gods, with a series set primarily at the Death Weapon Academy with humans and weapons that take on a human form. The aim of these duels is to slay 99 evil human souls and a single witch. After having killed this amount, the weapon is said to transform into a death scythe, to be used by the headmaster of the school, a Shinigami known as Death. With some interesting pairings and characters and some fresh story arcs, Soul Eater's greatest strength is the clear direction and goal of every core story: 99 evil souls and a single witch. Count along as our heroes slay episode after episode in their attempt to transform their weapons into an all-powerful death scythe. Number 7. To Your Eternity. An absolutely brilliant high school concept anime that takes things a lot slower than most anime series out there. Far more paced and a lot more emotional than we're used to, the story of a mortal being, Fushi, is one that you cannot miss out on. The original creator of this manga series was inspired by her own grandmother's death. The passing of a loved one she was so close to inspired her to create the original manga series, which finally saw a brilliant anime adaptation this year. The story following the immortal Fushi that arrived on Earth as a plain white orb, taking the form of objects and animals and people it encounters. The journey from a rock to a wolf to a young boy, traveling and learning about humanity to your eternity, truly is an anime series unlike any other. And the dissection of what it truly means to be a human or to even be alive had us thinking long after the credits had rolled and the episode had ended. Number 6. Tsukimichi – Moonlit Fantasy. This series has seen nothing but unparalleled levels of success across every medium. From a brilliant web novel, highly selling light novels and mangas. It was feared that the Moonlit Fantasy would struggle in anime form, but since its 2021 release, we've realised that it's not the case and cannot wait for the next season. We'll learn of a strange and mysterious contract that was agreed upon by a goddess and the parents of our MC, Makoto Mishumi. One day transported to another magical world and sent to become the hero of this fantasy realm. The goddess considers our hero to be hideous and refuses to even consider him as a hero, cursing him and removing his ability to even speak English. Makoto is driven off and forced to live in the far outreaches of this new world. Our hero slowly learns his increased physical and magical abilities, far more powerful than you could imagine. Makoto joins up and forms a team of magical beings and builds a new community in which all these different races can coexist peacefully. An interesting tale that explores some very unique themes and concepts. A peculiar watch for sure that is quite unlike anything else we've ever come across. Number 5. Kemono-Jian. An absolutely brilliant blend of the supernatural with strong dark fantasy elements. Kemono-Jian sometimes gets a bit gross and a bit disgusting, but a fantastic watch nonetheless, and one that you definitely need to check out. The story kicks off following the 13-year-old ghoul-human hybrid by the name of Kabane Kazuka. Our hero was abandoned by his parents and lives a horrible life of abuse and suffering, working hard labor jobs for his aunt. Our hero soon learns that his parents probably did not abandon him, and that sets off Kabane on an epic quest in search of his parents as he soon starts to learn more and more about himself on the way. With an extremely innocent and straightforward outlook on life, Kabane is happy to throw himself in front of danger, willing to sacrifice himself no matter what. He is part ghoul and almost immortal, with insane levels of regeneration and borderline immortality, as long as his head stays intact. Number 4. Suppose a kid from the last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. A fantastic watch, this is a series that is not afraid to get a bit more light-hearted at times with some awesome comedy elements that had us rolling on the ground laughing. A fantasy series with a great sense of adventure, there really is a lot to love with this anime. We follow Lloyd Belladonna, a seemingly average teenager that lives in a legendary town of Kunlun. Leaving his home to become a soldier for the Kingdom Army, he is known across the village as a weakling that can't even do any normal jobs. We soon realise that Lloyd is far more powerful than most people in the realm, due to the fact that his town is located in one of the most dangerous regions in the world. Actually insanely powerful, Lloyd is also kind and generous. A helpful and extremely humble MC, he loves to cook and clean but does not believe that he is really as powerful as people say that he is. Number 3. Eden Zero. This is an anime series that really ramps up its science fiction and fantasy elements to a whole new level, looking to explore and expand upon a really phenomenal and highly imaginative universe that had us hooked from episode to episode. The core storyline follows Shiki Ganbel, a young boy that sets off on an epic adventure on the starship Eden Zero as it travels throughout the universe and searches different planets on the hunt for a cosmic goddess known as Mother. With a highly successful manga series, this much-anticipated anime series sent waves across the community and we cannot wait for the next season to be released. We are desperate to learn more about this insane universe filled with humans, aliens, and highly intelligent robots. With each planet being highly futuristic while still maintaining some classic fantasy elements alongside some of the craziest science fiction elements that you can imagine. Cybernetic dragons and a monster called the Chronophage that literally devours planets, rewinding their time and creating alternative histories without causing a time paradox. And that's only the first season. Number 2. 86. A good quality mecha and military anime series is definitely hard to come by these days. 86 combines these rare elements alongside a beautiful romantic tale that had us invested from the very first episode. In a series that has seen a great deal of success as a light novel and manga, the recent anime release left us wanting more. Set in a world that has been ripped apart by a long-standing war that has gone on for about 10 years. We learn of these powerful mech weapons called Juggernauts, piloted by these highly skilled individuals. The story of 86 soon starts to explore the politics and divisions that rip apart this world. Surprisingly more mature than you'd think, we are soon dragged into a heavy world of violence, war, underhanded dealings, and awesome mech fights, alongside some absolutely brilliant badass characters and some interesting core plot developments. 86 is an anime that is definitely ambitious and looks to blend a lot of different aspects that deliver us a masterpiece of a series. And number 1. The Ancient Magus Bride. A phenomenal and unbelievably unique series set across a dark fantasy world, but with a core story that plays out more so like a mystery tale with supernatural elements. Somewhat grim and slow-paced, The Ancient Magus Bride's greatest strengths are by far its character chemistry and development. Following an orphan Japanese high schooler, Chase Hattori, deciding to sell herself off for auction in order to have a new place to call home, she is sold for £5 million to Eli Ainsworth, a huge humanoid with an animal skull for a head. It's implied that Elias is more demon than human, but from this grim start, the series starts to really explore those core relationships and enter the more romantic slice-of-life formula with heavy surreal and supernatural themes underlying it. We soon learn that Chase maintains powerful magic within her. An interesting journey of self-development with an exceptional cast of characters makes this an absolute must-watch anime series that is quite unlike any other.